All right, everybody, how's it going? Just wanted to welcome everybody to Seeker of the Known. I am live and ready to go. So, welcome to Freak Show Friday, and hopefully everybody is having a good time and being safe. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like it, share it with your friends and your family. It is, unfortunately, um, parental discretion advised. So, I mean, if you have kids that are into this stuff. I know my kids like talking about a lot of the supernatural stuff that I talk about. Anything, uh, whatever's on the plate. But we are here as a group of individuals who are wishing to seek the truth in everything and question everything in our world and our society within this place we call the Matrix, um, whatever you want to call it. But uh, yeah, this is where we can get together. Feel free to talk to each other, or you guys are more than welcome to go ahead and get on here and get on the comments. I've got the comment sections opened up for the Seeker of the Unknown page, my uh, Facebook page. I just opened that up, and I'll just comment on that one too. So if any, there it goes. Okay, I got it off. So um, yeah, welcome to Friday, and this episode is going to be something I think that we can all relate to. Um, if anybody has ever seen a spirit or seen an entity or seen something around them that they can't explain, one of the things that um, there's different dimensional beings, and we're going to get into that people see. There's one. I'll give you an instance. The old hag. You've got the Hat Man. You've got shadow people. You've got uh, just different types of entities that, and not only just like from that fear side, but spiritual beings or shadow people or things that you'll be like, I know what I just seen, like I seen something out of the corner of my eye. Or you will actually have instances where people um will find themselves doing something or walking or driving somewhere, and they will totally be either somewhere else, or they will be in another uh time zone or time dimension, and will not even know how in the heck they got there. Or will have conversations or see people from other dimensions, not in our time zone, and literally have conversations with these people and be able to um, physically interact with them. And we're going to go check out some videos and check out some documents that will help us be able to check some of this stuff out. So let me get on here real quick. Sorry, I'm doing stuff on the run as usual, because running a podcast and running a family at the same time is kind of, you know not everybody can do it. And I was helping my son do his oil and his spark plugs on his car just to get it going. So one one aspect of dimensions that we can look at is that we ourselves as human beings, as spirit beings, and this is something that you can, like I said, this is just something that we're talking about where we're going to bring it up. Feel free to comment. Okay. Not everybody will believe this kind of stuff, and not everybody will, be like, oh yes, they're open-minded to this. But this is something that a lot of yogis, a lot of spiritualists, a lot of Buddhists, a lot of people who are of knowledge and of that higher resonancy that are awake understand that we as human beings are multidimensional beings. And what that means is that in this plane that we're in this physical body, this is the dimension that holds this physicality of this body. And our spirit being of a different dimension that is multi-dimensional, our spirit is able to cross and transcend these dimensions and be able to um, travel to the past and be able to see things that have happened and experience things in the past, as well as being able to see the future, project themselves into a place and time in the future, and be able to interact with people. Or, you know, it's like that movie Interstellar. If anybody's never seen it, Interstellar, great movie. Um, I love it not only because Matthew McConaughey is a great actor, he's a good actor, but the information that is portrayed in the movie when you sit down and you watch it, a lot of the stuff that they're portraying, or with the information that they're giving you, um, like I've said before, it's letting you know that a lot of the stuff that we talk about, or a lot of people bring up about interdimensional beings, or dimensions, is real. And we know it's real because scientists have already come up with the information that backs up the theory of having at least 10, I believe it is 10 or 11 dimensions that we know of. And that's just of what we know of. Um, and they know of people who have transcended these dimensional abilities to transcend these dimensions. A lot of people that do yoga, a lot of people that do meditation. I do meditation. I try and do it as daily as possible, unless something's coming up. But the meditational aspect of it for me, um, I don't know if it seems like it's that dimensional transference where my spirit, my body is relaxed enough to where my spirit is able to leave my body. I haven't like done it where I physically like can remember or feel something or be able to be to that point. Um, but that is one way that people look at dimensional travel, or transcending this dimension to be able to focus on things in those other dimensions, and do sometimes things that we see or we think we see. Is that an opening from another dimension? Could it possibly be an opening of these spiritual beings on these other dimensions reaching through? And that's what we perceive as being spirits or ghosts. Are these the people that have already passed on to transcend to that next dimension? And when we see these visions of these people that have passed through, is that what it is? Is that them reaching through that dimension? And that is what the heaven and hell aspect of things are, as far as what we will be. Those are the dimensions, those are our planes of existence. But that's why I say it's all on what I guess people believe or what their faith is. Because I mean, you have different aspects of what they tell you as far as when you die and you leave this body. Isn't that a transcendence of your spirit to another dimension? You've left this plane because now you're not in this, this 3D dimensional aspect of everything that's here. Your spirit is actually able to transcend this current dimension and do what it wants to do. And that's what some of the scientific basis for sleep studying is. What happens when we go to sleep. A lot of scientists and yogis and Buddhists say that when your body is at rest and you're able to be so at rest, it is like being the closest to death that you can get to. And I'm not sure if anybody's ever heard that, but that is something you can look up. Um, that has been scientifically proven. When you sleep, you can be in such a deep sleep that your breathing and your heart rate goes so low that you're at a steady, your body, it's really crazy that your body keeps itself alive enough to keep you at that point where you're in such a deep sleep. That is like the closest to death that you can be. And that point where a lot of yogis talk about being able to control that aspect of that at any given time, at any time of your life, anywhere, and being able to get your body under control where you're at that point where you're able to control your body or your spirit leaving your body to go to another dimension. So, I mean, if you have this scientific data that goes into um, how deep does a person get to sleep or what happens in a functioning when people die, the brain is still functioning for a period of time. The hair and the nails are still growing. You still have cells that are trying to multiply, but they start decaying because it's not being given substance. So, if the human body is like a machine, right? And we're able to keep ourselves alive, the spirit doesn't need this body to live. It's alive. It's its separate source. It's actually its own source. But it lives inside of this suit that we call a body, right? And the sustaining of this body and keeping it alive and keeping it functioning enough to where it's able to be like, I guess what I don't know, this is just weird. What Billy Carson was saying in if you haven't read it, this is a great book. Billy Carson, The Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, A Beginner's Guide. I love this book. Thank you so much, Billy Carson, for writing it. And it was a real eye opener, real and great insight into um, just the correlation between ancient scrolls and texts. But in the Emerald Tablets, it talks about Thoth and the Anunnaki, the gods, because we know that Thoth, a lot of the gods that we see in ancient times are actually Anunnaki gods that, that's what the people were calling them by different names, Enki and Lil, um, Osiris in Egypt, Thoth, just these different gods throughout cultures. And, even in Aztec America, Quetzalcoatl, um, you have these these gods in different cultures that were actually these deities that were traveling across these continents, revealing themselves and giving them knowledge about things. But the people gave them names. So it's actually the same people in one as the Anunnaki gods, is what these, um, ancient historians and these archaeologists and these scientists are coming up with that are actually studying, ancient societies, are finding out that these gods are actually one and the same. They're just depicted in different cultures um, throughout the world. And In the Emerald Tablets, I'm going to get back to the dimensional thing and the bodysuit and the spirit, is that Thoth talks about how he hasn't been able to cheat death, but he is a knowledge seeker, and he is finding the ability to transcend dimensions based on the knowledge that he is collecting. And he is talking about, well, at a certain time, his bodysuit that he is living in, he goes into a hyperstasis chamber to regenerate that body in the Great Pyramid. And he talks about another body, like a clone, even, is ready for him in the chamber. So he's able to, his spirit will leave his body that he's in the stasis chamber, go in, transfer his consciousness, his spirit into this other body, and then be able to rule again for another 224,000 years or whatever, until his body starts getting weak, and then he transfers it again back into that body that he was leaving in the stasis chamber. So here you have ancient texts written down by these cultures that transcends everything that we know, at least by 36 to 5,000 years prior to um, religions being formed, and prior to um, biblical and religious texts that are telling you about all this stuff, and getting into that. The transcending part of the spirit into another dimension, isn't that something that he's talking about in that sense? Is that he's saying that his consciousness is not a part of this body, that he's able to leave, because he says when he leaves his body and he goes into the halls of Amenti, which are deep down underneath the pyramid inside the earth, where all the records of knowledge and the seven keepers are in this other dimension. That's pretty much what he's talking about, is transcending that and being able to leave this dimension to go to the next plane. And a lot of people are able to do this through hypnosis. That is one form of hypnosis, is for therapeutical purpose. People have something that's stuck in their mind and they can't get it, and it's regressed, and the hypnotherapist will actually go in there, and it's like a mind cube. It's pretty crazy. I know we've seen a lot of movies where people talk, to these therapists, and they're showing them getting hypnotized or whatever. And one of the movies is The Fourth Kind. If you haven't seen it, that is one of the hypnotherapists is trying to get regressed memories from her clients that are seeing this stuff, and that is a perfect example. Are these things that we're seeing, are they interdimensional? Are these things crossing over between our dimension and whatever plane they're on? And this is another reason why one of the theories I had is that the ancient Tartarian thing, you see these structures of this technology, of these people, all this stuff is being suppressed, or it was. These people that had this knowledge, they were on a different level. And when we talk about UFOs, or we have these ancient cultures talking about these beings leaving from this, to go to the sky, or leaving through these portals, because we know they had a lot of ancient cultures, Native American cultures, especially in the Four Corners region and in Arizona. You have these. Where's my book? In this book, Unearthing the Lost World of the Cloud Eaters, great book. This book is written by Stephen Quayle and Dr. Thomas Horn. And the guys that are doing the research and they're talking about a lot of this stuff, um, a lot of people, they base their stuff off of biblical theory and evidence in the Bible, which, like I said, I was raised up believing that, and I believe a lot of truth is in it. But I think the encoding of it was just translated wrong, and it needs to be, people need to find it. So these guys do a lot of this stuff, of this digging, and they talk about the Smithsonian cover up, but they also talk about the giants, um, and CERN, and the opening of gates, like I said, from CERN. But ancient cultures were given this knowledge by these beings that were pretty much portal jumping or jumping through dimensions. And even back in biblical times, it was talking about King Solomon. King Solomon was given the ability to do exactly just that. He had control over that, but not to the point where he could stop death or he could cheat death. But he was just given great knowledge and wisdom to understand and realize what was going on. But these Native American cultures were actually given the knowledge of black magic and dark arts, but they were opening up portals that actually let these beings in, and they described them, that came from these other dimensions, as being lizard people, serpents. And they started slaughtering them, and which is why you see these cultures, or the native tribes that were down in Arizona built the cliff dwellers, built these buildings into the walls, is because they were trying to get away from these beings that they brought in through these portals. And a lot of people were like, oh, a lot of scientists don't want to believe that theory because they don't want to open up a different narrative that's out of their paradigm, because it's just not something that, a sane, rational person would think, that, oh, well, they opened up portals and let these monsters out and they started killing them. So they built these fortresses on these hills. And when they couldn't fortify or keep themselves sustained anymore, they left everything. Which is why they say you see these homes that still have rice, they still have their food, they still have their sustained rations and portions of food and their weapons and stuff. They just left all that stuff because it became too great of a fight, and a lot of them probably did get devoured. um. So yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, and one of the things here is the dimensional portals that are able to be opened up, right? And I know a lot of things, people talk right now about these artists that are doing these ceremonial um, incantations through their stage music and through their music. Are they able to open up portals by doing this stuff out in the open? I believe so, because I mean, you see videos of people sitting in the crowd, and then let's look that up real quick. We'll check it out. So yeah, a lot of people were posting these videos at these concerts where, and they talk about, I think it was at a Travis Scott. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I mean, there's videos of this stuff where people are talking about Travis Scott, I guess, opening up a portal or something at his concert. Let's check this out real quick. And I kind of vaguely went through it, but it was like I don't care about that crap. But I mean, when it started showing these things coming up out of the ground or whatever, it was just weird. Here, let's check this out. And let's screen share it.
Everyone who went knew the vibe was off this night.
See, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just. I think it was this one.
This was the only video I got before leaving the mosh pits almost 2 minutes after this clip ended.
Yeah, it's like whatever. But anyway, I mean, and not only that, like you have CERN. And they openly admit it. Like
CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, is once again making headlines for their recent discoveries that could potentially change everything we know about the universe. But before we get to that, let's delve deeper into what makes CERN one of the most fascinating places on Earth.
And if you don't know what
CERN,
CERN is,
or the European Organization for Nuclear Research, is an intergovernmental organization consisting of 23 member states that is responsible for operating the largest particle physics laboratory in the world. The facility is based in a northwestern suburb of Geneva on the France-Switzerland border. CERN is home to half of the world's particle scientists and is currently operating the world's largest and highest energy particle collider.
and I think the reason why they were saying that they did this building of it in Switzerland, it has something to do with like ramifications if the fucking shit hits the fan. Like there's, they're not able to take the fall because where they're at, they're claiming citizenship in Switzerland, so it has something to do with that. I'm not sure, but
The Large Hadron Collider LHC. More about this later on in the video. CERN also found the Higgs boson particle, which is alternatively known as the God particle. This particle was discovered in 2012 when the researchers at CERN discovered that an elusive particle exists that is responsible for giving all particles their mass. In simple words, Higgs boson is responsible for the existence of anything and everything we see in the universe. Moreover, the particle physicists at CERN make antimatter to study in experiments using the antiproton decelerator. Just as the name suggests, it slows down the antiprotons so that physicists can investigate their properties. Last but not the least, in 1989, a CERN scientist named Tim Berners-Lee laid the bricks of the internet by creating the World Wide Web, WWW. He originally developed it to meet the demands for an automated information sharing between scientists at universities and institutes around the world.
that didn't go too well.
Now, let's get back to the Large Hadron Collider. If you've seen The Flash, then you might know that Flash got his super speed by getting struck by a lightning storm of dark matter caused by a particle accelerator. Even though this particle accelerator and LHC have the same task, accelerating particles at high speed and then colliding them. They're two very different machines. The LHC is a real-world scientific instrument that operates on the principles of particle physics, while the Flash's particle accelerator is a fictional device that operates on the principles of comic book superhero fiction. The Large Hadron Collider LHC is the world's largest and highest energy particle collider. The creation of the LHC didn't happen in a year or two. Instead, it took the science.
All right, so you kind of get the gist of what the CERN Hadron Collider is, right? So, I mean, there's been people that have seen portals that have been opened up by CERN, around CERN. And videos of let me see if I could find it. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all this bullshit. So anyway, there's been videos of people that have posted stuff on Facebook or wherever, and it shows these portals that are being opened up over CERN after they start running the Hadron Collider. And you see the swirling opening up over it, and it's like something out of Star Wars or something. But a lot of people are saying that it's actually CERN opening up these portals. And why it would be something that you would think that if they are looking, I mean, they've already found a God particle, right? And they've already been able to find this atom or find this matter, and being able to study it for as long as they've been able to do that. Why? What else are they trying to do? And I think it's become one of those things where, like, holy shit, they've opened up Pandora's box, and now it's becoming one of those things where, like, now we can't control it. And I think that they are probably possibly responsible for a lot of things that have been happening and have been opening up. You know, not just here, but across the world. And I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that's happened. Let me check it out. I'm trying to see if I can look. I had posted a video of one of them. Let me see if I can look it up. It's just... Ah. This right here is just one of the theories of CERN. They believe that we were destroyed, or the world ended in 2012 when CERN actually started the Hadron Collider for the first time. And
part of it in Switzerland. It is a joint.
Check it out.
These men do not agree with what's happening in CERN, Switzerland right now. There is a 17-mile long accelerator that lies 300 feet beneath the surface of the ground. This area is where France and Switzerland come together. So part of this accelerator is located in France and part of it in Switzerland. It is a joint European project. The United States of America is there as an observer. But the brain power that's going in to this experimentation originates in Europe. They are attempting to recreate what they believe happened that brought all of this into existence as being the Big Bang. Now, you and I know from the book of Genesis, chapter number 1, that in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth.
Let me just say this right
into
now,
existence. They are finding things, and this is what's important for us to understand today. They are discovering things that they did not expect to discover as they get deeper and deeper into this experimentation and development and research and so forth. They are beginning to find out that there is a whole lot more to the creation than they had ever given thought to before.
So this was a scientist. They were just talking about how they opened up something. CERN talking about you get a lot of people that are, like I said, they just base their stuff off of, religious aspects, point of views, and not looking at it from a CERN portals. Here's one right here. This is pretty interesting. March 25th, 2016. And there you see something going into it. Not sure what the hell it is. I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's pretty damn cool that, this is another picture. This is a really awesome picture of right above the CERN, the Hadron Collider. Here's a pretty cool one. This is awesome. Whoops. Oh, sorry.
What the hell going on here, America? Now that look crazy right there. That looked like a whole planet entering into our solar system. It looked like a fireball done fell through. Look at that. It looked like a fireball went through the firmament, or what it look like? Do this look like the firmament? You see I got the little, did something hit the firmament? You know what I mean? I don't know. I can't call this one. All I know is it look real creepy. Look at this here. I can't make this.
And that goes back into a lot of things. I mean, this is nothing new. This stuff goes back a long time in ancient cultures. And that's the other thing was this something that was not new? This is something that we're entering into an age of knowledge and understanding where we're pretty much like overstepping our bounds as far as, creating and becoming gods ourselves. Because actually in the ancient texts, it talks about
December
how
29th, 2023.
the Anunnaki
No
were upset
coincidence, I'm
because
sure,
the
but
men
that's the same
or
location that
mankind
CERN's particle accelerators
was
at.
becoming too
It looks
smart
like they are
for their
opening
own
portals
good.
again.
And they
I'm
actually
sure
knew
the
that we were
ghosting
smarter
community
than
will
they
just
were.
claim it's a thunderstorm.
So
It's called weather. What do you think?
that tells
Just
you right
some
there
natural
that we
weather
are
phenomenon?
becoming, or there
Or
are a
does it
lot of
seem like
people who
CERN
are
is up to it
smart
again?
that are
To
trying
me,
to
it
open
definitely
up
looks like
people's
those
minds and
parasites
give
are
us
out playing God
knowledge
again.
that
Question everything,
we
friends.
probably were not meant to possess. We probably were not meant to have. And I think once we reach a point where we are getting into stuff that is meant to be out of our reach, I think that that's going to be the telling sign right there of what these beings are going to be able to uh, show us and let us see and understand and know, as far as um, hey, you guys have actually reached this point, like, you know now we need to guide you into this next phase or whatever. Because you see it happening in all these ancient cultures, right? You see that Egypt had structures that were already there that were way, 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 way older. Even the pharaohs would have probably said that they were old. And not only there, but in different cultures in Mexico and Asia, here in the United States, the Middle East, in Europe. But were they able to open these dimensions? And if so, where do these dimensional portals go to? Do they go to other planets? Do they go to other solar systems? Do they go to other realms? Yeah. So, like I said, this is not anything new. This is stuff that has been old. It's just um the awakening in the consciousness of people to understand and realize what's going on around them and what we're seeing. It's nothing that the ancient civilizations and cultures were able to decipher and understand, because they depicted it. They showed these beings, they showed these creatures that they were interacting with. They had wrote them down on their walls. They put them in cave drawings. They put them on stone. They put them in tablets. They drew down what they were looking at and what they were experiencing. And you see that they literally let me see if I can get some pictures up. But right here, in Peru, this is called a gateway of the gods, and they talk about was it this one or was it this one? Yeah, it's this one. All right. So this is one of the portals in Peru. I know a lot of people have probably seen it. And what it is oops, sorry. I don't know what the hell's going on. But anyway, um in this drawing in the mountain, god damn it. I hate this computer. So what the ancients were talking about here is that this portal and this gateway, what they would do is that they would have a ceremony where the shaman would come up to the portal. He would stand in this gateway, and there would be a golden device that he would place inside of a notch. You could see it right there, that little dark spot. And the priest would set this golden, I guess it's a key. He would place it in there and would do his chants, and this portal would open up and it would take him. And he was able to go in and out of this portal. But it was said that he was the only one that was able to do these things. Sounds kind of familiar, right? During the time of King Solomon and the time of King David, who were the only people that were allowed to go into the temple? The priests, right? They were the only ones that were able to, because it was them that was able to be purified and cleansed and worthy enough to be able to go into the temple and see the Ark of the Covenant, right? That's what the story is that when these priests would go into these places, they were the only ones that were able to open up these portals, right? Because they were, the holies of the holies. They were the ones that had all the knowledge and had all the understanding of what was to be done in order for them to be able to communicate and be in the presence of God, or in the divine, or in the most higher being, or most higher powerful. And that's where you get this disconnection, is because everybody has the ability to do this stuff. And a lot of the wisdom and knowledge that was passed down was being suppressed and hidden only just for these certain people that were able to do it. And that's not what was meant to happen. We were all and the Egyptians adapted this very well, because they were not only taught and shown, but also other cultures. You have the Olmecs, who were in South America, who have depictions and talk about portals that lead to the underworld, into the sky, to the sky beings. You have the Phoenicians, you have the Greeks, you have the ancient Sumerians. You have all these cultures throughout time that talk about the transcendence of people being able to leave this world to go to another dimension or another plane. And even in the Bible, you have these depictions of Isaiah, and being taken up and leaving, or these beings taking these, high priests, these people that were in favor of God, or this, divine, all purposeful being, taking these people and leaving this earth to go wherever they were going to go. And this is, like I said, this is stuff that has been written down. This is what people saw. This is what people had seen. But the depiction and the wording of it is distorted, because you got to remember, these cultures didn't speak English. They didn't speak Latin. They didn't speak Greek. And it all goes back to the destroying of the temples of these knowledge holding crypts or buildings that had all these, like the Library of Alexandria, all the knowledge of the world, because all the philosophers and all the knowledge seekers and all the people from all over the globe would come to this place to seek knowledge, or to leave knowledge for others in the future to find. So now you have all this stuff that's gone. And now you have people who are translators to these cultures that are trying to depict and write down information in their own language, but they can't find the wording for it. So that's where you get the filling in of things with what you would think it would mean, but it doesn't actually mean it. It's just a representation in your culture of what it would be like, and it's not exactly the same thing as it would be for the person, because the description would be different. Do you see what I'm saying? So oops. So like I was saying before, in Interstellar, they talk about when Matthew McConaughey goes into the black hole, right? And I'm sorry if I ruin it for you. So here it is. Let me move this over real quick.
All of this is one little girl's bedroom, every moment. It's infinitely complex. They have access to infinite time and space, but they're not bound by anything. They can't find a specific place in time. They can't communicate. That's why I'm here. I'm gonna find a way to tell Murph, just like I found this moment.
How, Cooper?
The love, Tars, love. It's just like Grant said. My connection with Murph, it is quantifiable. It's the key.
What are we here to do?
Find out, tell her. The Watch.
So if you haven't seen the movie, go ahead and watch it. But what he's doing is something Murph, his daughter, this little girl right here, swears to God that there's a ghost in her room that keeps showing her, leaving her messages. And she doesn't know what it means. She keeps telling her dad, it left another message. And he's like, oh, well, what does it say? And it'll tell him, like 2 and 7. Tell him don't leave. And he's like, oh, it's nothing. He just plays it off like, oh, well, it's, it's old house. This is what I'm saying about the dimensional thing. Are we just interacting with our past between these dimensions? And this is what I'm saying, is because right now he's going back in time to leave his daughter a message. And the way he's doing it, she's thinking it's a ghost, but it's actually her father in the future interacting with her. Let's check it out.
The Watch. That's it.
She always was getting messages on this watch and didn't know what it meant. But this is him. This is showing why she was getting the messages. It was from her father in the future.
Translating data to Morse. Cooper, what if she never came back for it?
She will. She will.
Murph, I can see his car! He's coming, Murph!
So now she's an older girl, and he's trying to tell her, because he was like, she's going to come back and she's going to realize it. So now she's come back as an older woman, and he's trying to show her now.
Roger Morse's ... dash.
See, everything is woven together in a fabric of time. A linear time. You see what he's doing? He's manipulating that. That's what they were trying to tell us in ancient times, is that we are able to communicate with ourselves in the past. We're able to do these things. This isn't just a movie. If you look at ancient texts and ancient cultures and you study, she got his message. It's pretty cool. So growing up through our whole lives is that thing, that subconscious in our mind, what we hear and what we see that tells us not to do things and tells us to be careful, watch out, don't go there, or this just doesn't feel right. In past lives, are we able to reach back and do things like that? Like change what happened? Are we able to do those things?
Did it work?
I think it might have.
How do you know?
Because the bulk beams are closing the Tesseract.
So now that he's altered
Don't you get it yet, Tars?
the future,
They're not beings.
it's changing
They're us.
everything.
What I've been doing for Murph, they're doing for me. For all of us.
Cooper, people couldn't build this.
No, not yet. But one day, not you and me, but a people. A civilization that's evolved past the 4 dimensions we know. What happens now?
This is really awesome. Because while he's in the black hole, he's traveling through time. And what she saw was actually him passing through time. Yeah, you've got to check it out. It's a really good movie. Really good. And it goes back to this whole thing about what we were talking about, dimensional beings, and what our thoughts of dimensional beings are. Is you see these videos of these scientists who are doing these, experiments. They show like these aliens they're talking to or whatever. And the aliens telling them, I am you in the future. We're just a more advanced relative of yours, but we are human beings and we've adapted, to our world now that, you guys destroyed or whatever. And they're coming back trying to help us fix things. And that movie Interstellar talks about the same thing. It's like, is that actually what is happening? Our future selves are coming back and trying to warn us, trying to tell us, trying to help us, trying to guide us. So that's what that movie is all about. Is actually he actually finds the answers to what was going on and realizes what had happened. In the these beings sending us messages were actually us from the future trying to help out the world in the past. And that's really freaking cool. I think that's a really good, way to show everybody about things. And if you think about it, a lot of the stuff that we do see in movies, is it actually, a message? Are they trying to show us something? Are they trying to say something through these movies? And I've said it before, a lot of whistleblowers do go on to talk about a lot of things that get put into movies. And I think it's just a way for them to let us know without having to let us know. Because it was just really weird that I was on Gaia and I was watching an episode of this whistleblower with David Wilcox. And he was talking, I think it was Avery Smith, was talking about the tunnels that run under the bases or across the globe that the government uses to travel back and forth to these different ports around the world. And he was talking about portals that they use to leave here to go to different points. That's what he was saying, that these pyramids and stuff were not only just power portals, but were able to open up wormholes and time. It's crazy. But I just thought it was funny because not shortly after that, King Kong versus Godzilla comes out. And what do they have in the movie? Inner Earth, a hollow Earth, which a lot of people have been describing in ancient times all for a while. And not only that, but they show these traveling tube portal inside the Earth that the military that he was talking about. And I was blown away because I was like, no freaking way. And it just blew me away because I was like, wow. Trying to see if I can put this up real quick. And then you guys can check it out. But this was the scene in Godzilla versus King Kong where they discover the hollow Earth. And this is them going through the portal that opens. How fucking crazy is that? And a lot of people don't take this into consideration, that this was stuff that Admiral Byrd was describing when he talked about going into the opening in Earth. And it goes into exactly what we're seeing in this movie, a whole nother ecosystem. Exactly what he was describing. And you see this in the movie. Godzilla vs. Kong is going into the hollow Earth, and they're showing all of this that Admiral Byrd was describing. How crazy is that, right? I'm trying to see if I can find that rail system video on Godzilla, but if you look up the movie, you'll see the video where they get into the rail system and they go traveling, and it says like on the thing you could pick China, and they type in China and the train goes and it freaking takes off, and it's like 35-45 minutes and they're in China. And it's like, what the hell? But these are the same things that Avery Smith was saying are actually they're real. And they've been using this stuff for a long time. I'm trying to find this where they get on this train so you can actually see it. But anyway, If I can't find it, can't find it, whatever. Do. Trying to see if I could find it. But anyway, if you get a chance to check it out, the clip was on the Godzilla versus King Kong, and they get on the train and they go through there. But there's like portal systems that they're also able to use to travel between places, designated ports on the Earth. And I think that's pretty crazy and phenomenal, because when you think about it, a lot of the ancient cultures talk about a lot of this stuff and being given the knowledge. And that was one of the reasons why these cultures and the civilizations were wiped out, was because they were getting this knowledge that they were not supposed to have, and they were becoming more advanced. So they had to get wiped out. And we see this countless times. And that's one of the things where I, think of, this whole thing of them talking about the Great Reset and yada, yada, yada. Mankind isn't ready and we need to put them back in their place and blah, 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 giving us freaking shots or whatever. But they're able to open up these portals. They're able to open up this technology and be able to see things that they keep hidden from us, but they reap the benefits of it. What else is out there? Like, is this why the suppression of spiritual knowledge was being kept away from people? Is this why we were always told that we are not gods ourselves, that we are just people that are here to worship and get on our knees and do things, and not being able to have that power and not being able to know that we can do these things? Because this is who we are as human beings. We're able to jump dimensions. We're able to consciously and unconsciously activate and connect to these other dimensions and do this travel. And I think a lot of people don't want to take into consideration that. You see why we were burning witches, why the church was excommunicating people, and why they were burning books about knowledge and information during the Inquisition. And not even only that, you see them going across different cultures and killing and wiping out cultures and getting rid of the information and tearing down the statues of their gods or these beings that were giving them this knowledge, because they were trying to suppress it. I don't think that these people were going to try and find land. I think these people the church was going around to collect all this information, steal it, and get the information and access the knowledge and the rituals, and have these people teach them this stuff. Because why would you just go around and just do something like that just to wipe people out in the name of a so-called God? I think more people have killed other people in the name of God than they have done to save them. You either serve our God or you're going to end up getting freaking killed. You don't want to listen? Well, they take your freaking family member, get them and hang them up by a rope, or hang them in between horses and rip them apart until you subject. Of course I'm going to say yeah. But the knowledge that they had been given, the knowledge that the Native Americans had, I'll give you an instance. What is the one thing that they always said is that the earth is our mother. She gives to us and we give back to her. When we die, we come back to the earth because she is a part of us and we are a part of her. All things are living, plants, animals, the air, the water we drink, the air we breathe. Everything is alive. And here we are. I posted the video on my webpage. Scientists are saying that plants and trees are sentient. They think, they feel, they communicate with each other. So it's like you're just validating what all these Native Americans and all these native cultures were saying for thousands of years. But you wanted to come over here and slaughter them because they were fucking savages and they were wild animals and get rid of them and make them believe in this one book and this one God when they were trying to sit there and tell you about all this other stuff, but they were liars, right? They got shut down. So that makes you think, if we can revert back to our old ways, if we can revert back to what our ancestors and what the ancient cultures were trying to teach us, and were trying to show us a better way of living, a better way of keeping this earth in a sustainable habitation to where we can all live together, we can all coexist. But you see that you have this 1% that is just trying to keep us down and keep all this information and all this knowledge hidden from us. And I think it is really sad. I think it is really idiotic for people to say that one thing is just and another thing is not, especially when the thing that you're saying is just is based off of ancient cultures and ancient religious aspects. You just adapted what you were saying, and now you're saying that the old stuff is bad. And I think people need to realize is that, I've always said it, we are more powerful and we are more capable of doing better things, not only just for each other, for this planet, for our spirit to awaken and understand and be knowledgeable and be able to progress this this life existence that we have, but be able to do it in a manner where we gain the knowledge and we gain the information that is going to be able to better prepare us and better make us prepared for being able to survive in the future. So, as I said before, seeking and understanding knowledge and being able to coexist with each other without having to say, well, you're right, I'm wrong, take this and don't take it, but learn from the knowledge that is right in front of our face, from our ancient cultures that were trying to set a path for us and trying to tell us, hey, stupid, I'm giving you this information and I'm writing it down. You might want to take a look at it because you're asking for the questions. You're asking for the answers and we're giving it to you. And I'm very grateful for people like Billy Carson, David Wilcox, Matthew LaCroix, Zachariah Sitchin, and for Eric Von Daniken, all these people. And there's thousands of us. There's thousands of people who are knowledge seekers. I am nowhere at these people's level. I am nowhere at any way, shape, or form as knowledgeable as these people, but I am trying. I'm researching, I am looking, I am reading books, and I'm going out there and looking for this knowledge and this information. And both said that the ones who seek that knowledge, the ones who are after the information, the ones who wish to obtain the pathway to enlightenment are the ones who are going to get it. You're not just going to be able to find the answers. We're not just going to be able to get everything we want by just asking and getting on your knees and praying, oh God, please, I wish I knew, or I wish this and that. You got to make it happen and get into the habit of speaking those things into existence, because you are the ones who are creating your reality. We are the ones who make things happen. We are the ones who are in control of our destiny. We are the ones who are going to find the answers and get the knowledge and be able to help each other and our children and our children's children by giving them that knowledge and building them up. So I just, wanted to end the episode with that and just let everybody know that you guys keep doing what we're doing, keep finding knowledge, keep finding the answers, keep looking for the truth, because we're not going to find it by these idiots that are suppressing it and just giving us a bunch of baloney and just telling us what they want us to hear. That they're superior to us, and we are just to be subservient and just live our lives as long as they're dishing out, little scraps here and there. So be knowledgeable, be a seeker, find the truth. Don't just settle for anything that they tell you. Always look for the answer for everything. It doesn't matter. Great weekend, many blessings. Namaskaram. You guys always remember that you are the enlightened ones. You are the light of this world, and finding the knowledge and the understanding and becoming enlightened and elevated in your spirit is one of the ways just to be able to cope and be able to get through this life. And I just hope that everybody's, if you feel like you have that inkling, like you just have to know, like something is just off and it just hits you, please reach out to somebody in our communities and ask questions, because that's the one way I got into this. I always knew my whole life that something was off, something was wrong, and I went searching for the answers until I started getting into what I needed to get into. My eyes were open to everything that was going on. So I just ask that if you do feel like that, or you know somebody, or you start talking to somebody and they're really shy about it, just let them know. You guys are not alone. We're all in this together. You're not the only one that feels like, man, there's something off. Or I want to know why this is. Why am I here? Who is this? It just doesn't feel right, everything that I've been told. You're not alone. We're all in this together. And we're going to get through this, and we're going to figure it out. And that's one way of building this, knowledge and this insightfulness and this spiritual elevation, is by doing it together, is by giving the information out to the public, giving the information and passing it around. It's like those people you see on the street with the flyers and the leaflets. Hey, we want to invite you to this, or hey, this and that. Hey, this is the same thing. We're just giving you a tip to say, hey, look at this, or understand this, or look into this, because might be something that might help you. And if there's something that you guys want to talk about, message me and let me know. Hey, Raul, I'd really like to see this, or do you know about this information we could talk about on the next episode of Seeker of the Unknown? We'll do it. Shoot me a link. If it's not on Facebook, then shoot it to me on YouTube, and we'll check it out. And I'll get back to you guys. But like I said, just keep your heads up. Be safe this weekend, please, and don't forget to love the people that you're with and around, and cherish every moment and every day. Don't take anything for granted, and always look up to the skies and question what's out there. We're not alone in this place, and you're definitely not alone here. So if you have questions, or you need to talk to anybody, please reach out. Always here. And with that, I will see you guys soon. Next week, if not next week, I will see you guys before next Friday, and we'll have another discussion and touch up on another topic. But hopefully this was good. Didn't have too much going on as far as Facebook wide. Everybody was pretty quiet. I think it's one of those Friday nights where nobody wants to do anything and everybody's just chilling, hanging out. But yeah, I'm glad you guys are all able to come along. I'm glad that everybody's here. And yeah, hit me up on Facebook or YouTube, and we will stay in communication, and always keep looking for the answers, keep seeking to find the knowledge of the unknown. And thank you guys for coming along with me on this journey. It's been really good, and we're going to keep doing it and keep pushing forward. So this is me, Raul, signing off for Friday night, Freak Show Friday, episode 11. And I will see you guys next Friday, and thank you guys again. Appreciate you.